women get more.
Well, after 50, it's a junkyard, Gabe says. Well, yeah, but some guys like the junk, like they like the junk car. And again, but it's always for a pragmatic reason. They're not looking for a car for a lifetime. Like this guy, I mean, he was just looking for short-term rentals. Short-term. He was open to a long-term if one of the cars seemed really reliable and good, but, yeah. So.
Insecure as they age about their looks when they're in a beauty-driven industry. That's why Botox exists. That's why filler exists.
Well, let me go to the expert on the panel when it comes to male gazes at beautiful women. Ernest, your thoughts on this?
No, I mean, to be honest, I think that two things can be true at the same time. People have the right to evolve. And also see things reflectively. What you do in your young age, I mean, heaven forbids, you all claim that you all don't support cancel culture, but, a lot of you all would make the case that maybe she did at one point in time when she was younger, may have thought that's what she needed to do and that's how she got her career. But maybe years later, she can get older and reflect and say, hey, some of the stuff I did back then.
And by the way, Ernest, it's the same. It's the same with men, right? I mean, it's the same with male movie stars. When they cross a point where the female gaze moves from them to a younger, hotter model. It's exactly the same the other way around.
It's not exactly the same because, let's be honest, ladies, we'd all smash Brad Pitt. Come on. I mean, I'm taken, but you guys, you get the idea. Like, Brad Pitt's a would for most women, or a good portion of women, right? I guess you can't say all, but yeah, no, it's not the same. Not the same at all. But Jennifer Aniston, I mean, like, women would fly to the ends of the earth to smash Brad Pitt. I don't think most men could be bothered to do that for Aniston. Shiv, let me know. Would you get on a plane to smash Aniston? But it'd have to be for the bragging rights.
You look at it all the time. Look at the hot movie male stars of 20 years ago. They're not there anymore.
Right, but the difference is, though, with those roles, that's actually not true all the way. A lot of these older men do get to evolve and date younger women. What we don't...
Well, and the thing is, actually, the older women are going to keep being cast in these movies because, remember, women make 80% of consumer buying decisions. So say goodbye to Scarlett Johansson young. Say goodbye to Megan Fox young. Say goodbye to all these hot women young because they're going to start giving the roles that appeal to the female gaze. So mids like Zendaya. And they're also going to give... like Margot Robbie at 32 as Barbie, because all the movies are now being made for women, so they're going to suck. Shiv says, only if Jennifer Aniston is offering me money or I have some bragging rights for clout. But I'd be 0% into it compared to me dating a 21-year-old woman. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't see that much in
Hollywood.
No,
I mean, female moviegoers going to see male movie stars, the reason they go moves from the female gaze at a hot young movie star to something different when they get older, right? So it's in other words, it works the same way.
But that's not the same, though. They can get a range. What I think that happened with Scarlett Johansson, a lot of these actresses, is that what you'll see with men is that they can do both. They can do the Oscar-winning Leonardo DiCaprio films, and they can also do the sex symbol films. They can also do it simultaneously and still get the awards. Versus what we see with women in Hollywood, it seems to be a double standard where prestige films that they can be in and star in, oftentimes they don't get the chance to be the ingenue or play into the sex role. But if they do go that way, they can't have both ways. So Denzel could be both. But Scarlett Johansson couldn't do both most of that.
Okay, yeah, but why? Okay, but why would you complain then? Why would you complain and say, the male gaze is so terrible, and then take the role as a woman? Why would you take the role if the male...
We don't hate the male gaze. We just hate that we can't have the male gaze forever. Imagine as a man if you woke up as a multi-bajillionaire and you knew that it was going to go away. Right? You knew it was going to go away. And you are not intelligent enough to do... very few women are intelligent enough to be smart with the youth. Very few women can win. And immature too, because Yeah.
She should.
And you got to be a certain level of hot, because you're just going to be annoying, because young people are just annoying. There's no life lessons, whatever. And you got to be a certain level of hot for the guy to want to mold you and not just smash and pass, right? So
just own it. Just own it.
Hang on. Let him answer the question. Why is it that if you really saw this as a problem from a feminist view, the male gaze, as a female actress who's aspiring, why would you take the role? Aren't you just selling out for money, dude?
And I'll do it. Send me midcasting.com.
I mean, I'm not a woman, so I'm not the one taking the role, but I'm saying something like I'm saying before.
See how they don't answer any questions? They just refuse.
No, I'm answering your question. Did you not let me finish? I'm answering your question. What I'm saying is that you, at the end of the day, it's none of these things, like even the way that people vote for certain elected officials, it's never one size fit all. She has survival. She wanted to get her career. She wanted to do certain things. Does she have regrets? I don't know. But what I will say is that there's a lot of factors that people do when they make their decisions, right? There's certain people where you don't agree with everything on all aspects, but you do some. And I think at a certain point,
I hear what you're saying, Ernest. It just seems a little convenient, though. It just seems a little convenient to make all of your money off of being a sex symbol and an overt sex symbol. I mean, half naked, this, that. You make all your money that way. You should own it. She should be coming out and saying,
I totally agree. I think that the women I admire in the entertainment world are the ones who are smart but are unafraid to say, I use my sex appeal and it makes me tons of money, as well as my smarts, as well as my talent. It's a whole package. Same with the guys, right? If you're a hot movie star who's got talent, you're going to make more money than an ugly one. So it's as simple as that. It's not fair. Life isn't fair.
Hollywood's not fair.
I want to end. This was a bizarre moment last week in the House of Commons here in the United Kingdom. So just for background, we have a woman called Rachel Reeves, who is the first female Chancellor of the Exchequer. So the second most powerful person in the British government, the treasurer, if you like, of the United Kingdom. And she did the one thing which I guess most women who had voted for her would have wished she hadn't done, which is at the weekly Prime Minister's questions with Sir Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, she was openly crying in the background. Now, this followed a very bad week for the government, very bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's why women shouldn't be in politics. It's just my opinion. Guys, I'm curious in the chat. Could you put your name, age, and if you're married, divorced, or single? I'm just kind of curious who's watching. Put gender too, if there's women in the chat. I'm just curious. Also, like the video if you can. It'd be helpful.
Week for her. One of the signature policies that had to perform a big U-turn on. She apparently been seen having a blazing row with some colleagues and with the Speaker of the House. She then came out the next day grinning like a Cheshire cat, a little too much for my credible belief, and said that there was a personal issue going on, the details of which have not emerged, and I suspect they won't. Andrew, the problem I have with this is that I think a lot of women will have felt let down, that you finally get a female Chancellor of the Exchequer, and within a few months she's crying in the most high-profile televised moment of each week in the House of Commons. And it looks like it's just because she had a bad week.
Well, gee, who could have predicted this? Who could have predicted that women who are in positions of power may act overtly emotional? Just
wow, you guys, this is like a very mixed crowd. There's a lot of married guys in here for what we talk about. Be honest, are you happily married? Be honest. Be honest.
It's based on, well, even the hormones in their body. I am so stunned. I'm shocked. I can't believe that women everywhere are stunned and shocked that women, when they become very emotional, begin crying. No shock to me, of course. No shock to anybody else on
Let me ask Jedediah.
Inside of your leadership,
Jedediah, as a woman,
leadership scale, you should.
All right, Jedediah, as a woman, are you comfortable with what you're hearing from Angela?
I actually am comfortable with it, to be completely honest, because the truth is that men and women are different and we are emotional. And I kind of wear the fact that I have an emotional cycle that goes like this throughout the month, like we all do, like a badge of honor, because it's what makes me a woman. You can't, the thing is, you can't be.
That's true. Cook, Jedediah, cook.
In a leadership position and act like that. As an example, do y'all remember John Boehner? John Boehner was a disaster. He was always crying. So this is not exclusive to women. Let's just say that this can happen.
I totally agree.
It's pretty exclusive to women. It's pretty exclusive to women.
This had been, I mean, look, I think if it had been a man, a male Charles Exchequer crying, he'd have got whacked even more.
Well, that's the difference, because if you remember,
Howard Dean got ran out for a scream. I mean, come on.
People were making fun of him all the time. He was the laughing stock. The difference is here, a lot of people jump and make excuses. Well, she had a bad day. Honestly, I don't care that you had a bad day.
Pearl, how can I get my girlfriend to be as based as you? Well, you're going to have to train her better. If she doesn't become as based as you, King, she doesn't like you that much. I mean, guys, a lot of people are like, "Oh, Pearl, how did you? The past year, your opinions have changed a bit." Yeah, because I started dating my boyfriend. All right, do you want me? Do I have to say it? All right, like, God, he's cooked me so many times. God, if you guys could see some of the conversations we've had the past year, I try not to draw too much attention to it. Because there's just crazy people and they just make fun of whoever I date. Do you know what I mean? Like, when I got into this, I paid a pretty heavy price for being honest when it comes to dating. I did not realize coming into this the way a man would see this I know it sounds cool to have your girlfriend like, oh, you're so based, whatever. But I don't think you guys realize the realities that come with this. Docs it, like there's just anyways. But I'll just say this, behind the scenes, I've had some ideas that he just absolutely cooked. Like, where I really, like, I would just say these ideas and he would just slowly, calmly, because he's a calm guy, he would just slowly, calmly cook me. And one of those was that, like, yeah, it's going to get better. And I really thought that, like, traditionalism was going to come back. He cooked me on even some of these I don't even want to say because they're so embarrassing. Not to him, but to me. To me, they're embarrassing because he just cooked me so hard. Yeah, he just cooked. And he knows the RP material so well, like God, so much better than me. Like he's been in the forums for like ever. And I'll tell you what, you date one of these guys, it's like dating on hard mode because there's just no, they just know every, manipulation tactic. You can't, I'll just say this, you can't pull one over. No, I'm team let these modern grow alone, win, make money, have fun, have kids in a foreign country at 50 and live with residual income. That's a good strategy, right? But yeah, I'll just say this. Yeah, I've been cooked, but it's not online.
In a leadership position. I mean, the bottom.
And the other thing that's not known is like I didn't realize I would be unemployable. Yeah, no, a lot of things. I didn't really. I paid a very heavy price for being honest, and sometimes it's unfortunate. I think people thought Pearl's a grifter, this that, but I'm like I just tried to be honest from the beginning, and you pay a pretty heavy price for that. I mean, I'm a woman. I'll say honest for a woman. Right?
Market had a sell-off because this woman was crying. Yeah. These have real ramifications. So I think what Andrew's getting at is, listen, men and women are different. And it does beg the question, if we are naturally more emotional And we are by nature.
Women are not.
We are.
No, they're not.
Listen,
yes, they are.
Look at how
Yes, they are.
All right, Taylor, I have a question for you. Taylor, if Donald Trump's bottom lip began to tremble and he started crying on national TV, when he was addressing the Congress or something, I mean, come on, you'd absolutely murder him.
He's having tantrums every week. He's having emotional meltdowns.
He isn't crying.
That's not the same thing.
Have you ever seen Donald Trump cry in public?
Okay, I'm not talking about crying. If he listen, here's the thing. Andrew does not like women having any type of emotion outside of nodding their head.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
He didn't actually say that. He said that. He said women. Ernest, hang on. He didn't actually say. Hang on. You're missing. Hang on. Stop talking, Ernest. Ernest.
I'm acting like Andrew right now.
You missed. Hang on, Ernest. Stop talking for a moment.
You're acting like
all Andrew said was women are more emotional. He wasn't surprised, right? He wasn't sort of damning women for being emotional. He just said they are more emotional. Do you dispute that?
Yeah. Well, and she actually said no, they're not. How would you ever even dispute this? It's objectively true that the hormone functions that are inside of women are different than the ones that are inside of men. That is objectively true in general. Can you point to some women who are more? Hang on. Can you point to an outlier of some women? Hang on. I'm almost done. Calm down. Can you point to some women? Can you point to some women and say that they're more emotionally stable? Sure, but on average, women have far more emotional regularity than men do. In fact, they have one time of the month.
Taylor, are you?
Do you know how I can tell a woman's insane? If her husband speaks too highly of her. I don't know how to explain this, but there's a way a man talks about his wife where I can just tell he's afraid of pissing her off. Oh, my wife's the greatest. My wife's this. My wife's that. And if a guy says my wife's annoying, I'm like, oh, I bet his wife's pretty cool. I don't know. I can't explain it, but that's when I know a woman is insane. When it's like, oh, my wife's the greatest and she's awesome. I'm like, is she that awesome? Because I haven't met a woman in my life ever that's that awesome. Now, I'm not saying I haven't met cool women, fun women, but the woman always comes out. I've met women that I never thought would accuse a guy of abuse that end up doing it anyway. I've met women that I never would have thought hoed out, and they hoe out anyway. You meet women that are so chill and so they have the feminine voice. They've learned all this stuff, and then they crash out anyway. I just don't. It's just like, what? So you met a unicorn, truly? Yeah, a unicorn for now. And I say this at myself, sometimes I'll see myself, doing something, I'll get super mad or annoyed and I'll be a bitch. And I'm like, God, why did I do that? Do you know what I mean? It's not like, guys, it's not like, and that's why I try to always preface, I'm not special or different. I'm not, I wish I was, but there's still the evil woman in me. And that's in every woman. So if the guy doesn't acknowledge that she's crazy, evil too, I'm like, he's afraid of her. Yeah. So.
Taylor, would you say you're more emotional than your male colleagues when you worked with men?
Oh gosh, I've worked with men that have cried in my arms, and it's so funny for Andrew to say this.
Yeah, right.
Andrew,
those aren't men, honey.
Andrew is the one that is out. Andrew is the one that is losing his mind on this panel, screaming and shouting and making fun and doing all these.
Screamed and shouted at anybody. What are you talking about? Do you think that if you just assert lies that people who watch this aren't going to be able to see that they're clearly lies?
Right now, shouting over me. Listen to this. This is crazy. You have absolutely
That's not shouting. That's not shouting.
Yeah, whenever men are masculine, women will say you're yelling at me, da 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 da, when they just talk in a stern voice. But see, that's the woman. That's the gaslighting. Gaslighting, yeah.
Let me ask you this.
I think those hoop earrings are hurting your brain, lady.
We can do this for a second, woman to woman, Taylor, because I will say to you, Taylor, there is no question about it that when you look at Taylor, when you look at a man, his testosterone is pretty steady. His whether you like it or not, his hormones are steady. That's what comprises a man. When you look at our hormones, they do this naturally. That's why we have a cycle. That's why we have the beautiful gift of being able to make.
Oh my gosh, do you know when I'm the biggest bitch? Oh my gosh, right before we get our periods, like right before I want to kill somebody. I want I actually make my best content, to be fair. Like, I think you guys like it, but it's like right before I'm like, we should be banished from being by anybody. They should set us like those like 2 or 3 days. It's not during, it's right before. They should put us like in a camp where we can just like get it out, yell, I don't know what. But every time I've done something where I like feel very bad about it later or like guilty, it's always that part of the cycle. Yeah. I've learned to not talk to her 2 days before and after her period. Yeah, and I want you guys to understand female psychology. Like, do I get PMS? Yeah, like it's all of us, guys. All. It's not like I am not special or different, all right? Women, we struggle, and I think this maybe other women can relate or you can't. You feel the crazy in you and you get guilty after. And so then you feel guilty and then it's just a cycle. And it never ends. So that's why when women are saying like, I don't do that, I'm like, you don't really. You never have been a bitch ever. I have. Really? Like, come on.
Babies. That's what makes women women. So yes, there can be an outlier over here and there. John Boehner, I use the example of John Boehner, but it's very, very safe to say that in general, women are more emotional than men. And that does beg the question then, if
there's no PMS in Iran and Saudi Arabia, again, that's not true. It's just simply not true. Not true. I've had people in spaces from Saudi Arabia and Iran. It's simply not true. They have the same problems we have. The same challenges. And I keep trying to reiterate this because everybody thinks if they put a hijab on a woman, if they go back 100 years, and I want to do a show where I really dive into, there's writings about women being nuts in biblical times. I mean, there's a guy in the Bible, I can't remember who it was, but he literally said he's met one righteous man ever and never met a righteous woman in his whole life.